Okay, so hello everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Bishie. It has been a little while since I've done something along the lines of this, but I figured that actually doing something would be beneficial and trying to get back into the swing of things. For those of you who don't know me or don't know me personally or anything along those lines, yes, we have been absent for quite a long while. That is a thing that has happened. Um, a lot of it has to do with just life getting in the way of things and just being a pain in the ass, basically. Um, but again, for those of you who don't know me or anything like that in real life, and I've spoken about it a few times anyway. Um, I recently actually graduated from law school, so yay, awesome. Uh, um, but yeah, so that's why I haven't been on as much. I know Maverick and Jolly Yellow. Jolly Yellow, he has a family, so he has plenty of stuff going on. Maverick's working all the damn time. Mav did actually manage to get to go to WrestleMania, of which I'm somewhat jealous of him for. But other than that, I mean, things have been kind of hectic here, and trying to get back at least partially into the swing of things with different things like uh, with this, and kind of bringing some sense of normalcy back to how things have been. For those of you who follow our channel and know about us, you guys out there know that we like to do a yearly panel at Animazement that we call Anime You May Have Missed. This year it was the 6th year. So, hey, awesome stuff there. That's really cool. We had a full house again. Unfortunately, Jolly Yellow and Mav were not able to make it due to financial issues and, other stuff. But hey, I'm not upset. No one's upset. The panel still went really well. I had Alchemori actually jumped up. She hasn't been around for a while. Our other friend, Headphone Mike, jumped up on stage. We were able to have some banter back and forth to make things entertaining and whatnot. So, hey, things worked out really well. Another one of our friends, Nakia, was running the microphone for people who had questions or comments or anything like that. This year it was a 2-hour panel. Not going to ask for 2 hours again. Probably just going to go for an hour and a half if they let us do that. But we covered a lot of good stuff. Got another great reception from the attendees at Animazement and all of that. So, that's always nice to see, always nice to hear. But as far as things go, uh, like I said, I honestly just enjoyed it. Animazement this year was pretty chill for me. Well, actually, I take that back. It was kind of hectic at times. I was doing a couple of costumes. I did Battle Lover Vesta, and I did Undertaker from Black Butler. So fun costumes. I enjoyed a lot of the reactions that I got while I was in Undertaker. And yes, I'm going to continue doing this because I forgot to get a hair tie because I'm smart like that. But I've partially recovered since earlier today. I say partially because I'm still exhausted. It's a con. Of course, I'm going to be exhausted. But hey, I had fun. A lot of people had fun. It seemed to be a very good Animazement. Until we get to the drama that decided to rear its head. And I am speaking about a particular guest that Animazement had this year that got into a lot of just issues with different things. I'm pulling this up real quick. Oh, well, that's definitely interesting. So the guest in question was Eric Vale. He is a voice actor, an ADR director, a script writer, and head writer at Funimation. He has done some notable voices. He did Yuki Soma in Fruits Basket, America and Canada in Hetalia, Kimberly in Full Metal Alchemist. So he's had some decently big roles. A lot of people probably know him as Vin Smoke Sanji from the Funimation dub of One Piece. He was actually invited as a guest to Animazement, and he had all sorts of just he had a panel that he was actually going to be running. I'm wanting to say it was 11 o'clock or so today, 11:30, something like that. He was running it around then. Let me actually find this this thing, because this is actually very interesting now that I have looked at one thing in particular here a bit closer. But anyway, he was going to be running a panel today, and he also had a he had an autograph session or something along those lines as well. And long story short, it had to be canceled because of, well, let me just go ahead and say unprofessionalism. Let's put it that way. Mr. Vale apparently had not carried his badge with him at the end of one night for whatever reason or another, or had lost his badge. It doesn't honestly matter what happened. Another rumor that I heard was the fact that he had given his badge to a child, which honestly it does not really matter, because even if he gave a badge to a child, I have my Animazement badge right here. Right here. And on the back, it has talking about guidelines. In the guidelines for Animazement, it says you cannot transfer a badge. It specifically states that you can't transfer a badge after you've purchased it. If it's yours, it is yours. It's no one else's. Now, that notwithstanding, I understand that some people choose to sell their badges to other people and things like that, which Animazement cannot police everything. But if it's a guest, someone that Animazement has invited, you don't give up your badge like that. That is not how that sort of thing works. So I don't know if that part of the rumor is true. What I do know is basically the rest of the story from different sources of those around and those that were there. That whole thing. As far as what exactly went on, and I'm trying to find this because Mr. Vale has since deleted his Twitter posts, which I find entertaining. Mr. Vale went on, can we say, a bit of a rant. So from everything that I know, here is what I understand happened. Mr. Vale had no badge. He went from the Marriott downstairs through the underground tunnel to the convention center. Now, understandably, there is no there's no information booth or area there. Animazement hires, well, I'm not actually sure if Animazement hires, but I'm pretty sure that the security force that is in place is actually contracted through the Raleigh Convention Center, and they work the events. The security that is there are in yellow shirts. They're stationed at all the badge check places, and they are there to check to see if you have a badge. And if they do not see a badge, you do not get entry. No exceptions. So the security guard found Mr. Vale without a badge and told him that he could not enter. Okay, usually not much of a problem. The problem comes with the fact that Mr. Vale then, instead of contacting staff or attempting to get a hold of any staff, or, you know, even his handler, because, you know, the gophers and handlers are there for reasons like this. They're there to keep some people away. They're there to you know, get the guests anything that they really need or would like or whatever. They are there to help the guests. That is their pure and simple function, basically. So as of right now, no one exactly knows where the handler or the gopher or whoever was assigned to Mr. Vale was. But Mr. Vale, and I'm trying to find the Twitter quotes so I can actually say what was said and not putting words into his mouth. Let's see. Here we go. So he tweeted out, and this is in succession. Sorry I can't make my 11:30 panel or signings today, guys, but if you lose your badge, at Animazement won't let you into the con, guest or not. Very next tweet. I was just threatened with arrest for talking. Thanks at Animazement. And following that, no jokes, no sarcasm. At Animazement treated me like I was a criminal. That's the truth. And all of this was in the span of about, looks like about 40 minutes to an hour. So from what Mr. Vale spoke about was that he was trying to get through. He was trying to get through security, which, okay, normal thing. However, he did not he did not have the badge that he needed to get past security. He did not do anything of the sort other than basically tell the security guard that I'm Eric Vale. I have a panel and signings that I have to get to. I'm a guest of this convention. I'm not saying that's exactly what Mr. Vale said. What I am saying is that is the gist of what he said. As far as anything of that nature, what Mr. Vale fails to realize is that regardless of guest or not, we all have to follow the same rules. We all have to have our badge. We all have to be able to produce our badge. If we are not able to, then that's a problem. Now, Mr. Vale says that what happened was that he was threatened by the security guard who put his hands on Mr. Vale and then threatened to call Raleigh police for backup to have him arrested. Mr. Vale, I'm guessing from the fact that you deleted your tweets, you realize that you are not the victim here. You have been blocking people on Twitter who have come out and stated what actually happened, or who have tried to tell you that you were in the wrong. Now, while neither party is completely blameless in this, Mr. Vale, you have to realize that if it were not for the fact that you tried to forcibly move past the security guard after what happened, especially after what happened earlier this week in Arizona, where you had some guy dressed as the Punisher attempt to try to take the life of Mr. Jason David Frank. And I say attempt because he didn't even get near him. He didn't get close to him. He was stopped way beforehand. But he was found with multiple weapons. Mr. Vale, these people are doing their job. They're making sure that the people who are present have paid or have entry in some way, shape, or form. Cooler heads prevail. What should have happened is if you were denied entry from the tunnel, you can come right back up, go out, go through the front doors, and oh look, there's an entire lobby full of staff. who you can ask one of the staff members to radio for a green shirt. And the green shirts will verify who you are and that you're supposed to be there. And they would take care of you. But you didn't do that. Instead, you decided to take to Twitter like you were the victim and paint Animazement as the one who did wrong. Now, I have had my run-ins with very overzealous members of the security force that the Raleigh Convention Center has contracted out. And I will say that sometimes they are overzealous. Sometimes they are completely mean. But sir, being mean is part of the job for a security team. Being mean is something that those that have to protect a space or whatever, or have to make sure of some semblance of order in a convention, mind you, is actually taking place. Now, sir, I'm not speaking from an ivory tower myself. I'm speaking as someone who has actually done badge check, who has volunteered time at conventions doing badge check. Honestly, I wouldn't know your face from anyone else in the crowd. If you told me your name and said that you're a guest, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know if you were telling me the truth. I wouldn't know if you had some sort of fake ID. I wouldn't know. I had to turn people away plenty of times because they did not have a badge. Even though, hey, my girlfriend's right there, or hey, I'm supposed to be here, or hey, what? I don't care. I don't see a badge. You're not getting in. End of discussion. But Animazement had to inform everyone that your panels, or I'm sorry, that your panel and that your signing session, your autograph session, was canceled because you threw a fit. Instead of talking to staff, who was trying to find you, by the way, right after this went down, because the people around had actually tried to get a hold of staff and gone to staff, and they had tried to find you. Instead of going to staff and trying to get this sorted out and cleared up so you could make your panel and you could make your autograph signing, you threw a fit. You threw a fit and you ran. And not only that, you made one of the bigger conventions on the East Coast look absolutely horrible on its 20th anniversary. It's been doing this for 20 years. Animazement has been going for 20 years. Animazement was going before you made your break. And Animazement will continue to keep going regardless of what happens to your career, sir. Now, you have since deleted your tweets, as I stated earlier, which tells me one of two things. One, you were tired of your messages getting blown up, getting mentioned and having to block people, and, just getting tired of all of that. Or two, you realized that you were in the wrong. And instead of actually coming out and saying that you were in the wrong, you ran. I find it very telling that on your Twitter profile, right before your Instagram uh, username, you have the two words as a sentence, me adult. No, sir. No, you don't. Because honestly, the adult thing to do, would have been to actually stick around, get things sorted out, and to actually discuss this with staff. You know, like I said, the adult thing to do would have been to flag down staff, get this sorted out, and get onto your panel and autograph signing so you didn't leave your fans in the dark. So you didn't take that opportunity from them. So you didn't act like a petulant child on a social media platform and then block everyone who chose to call you out on it. You are not an adult. You are far from an adult. That is not how you are supposed to act. And being in such a position as you are at Funimation, that is not how an ambassador of Funimation should be acting. Most of all, we have had no issues with other guests. If something goes wrong with something of theirs, they talk to staff and it gets handled. Ask Trish Ledoux. She's been there I don't know how many times. Ask Keiko Han. She's been there I don't know how many times as well. Ask Kyle Hebert when he went. Animazement takes care of its people. Animazement was trying to do the right thing. But instead, you gave them no choice. Instead, you decided you wanted to take your toys and go home. This is all I can glean from this situation. You say that you were threatened to be arrested just for talking? But you neglect to mention that you pushed your way past a security guard? And then you say that Animazement treated you like a criminal. Sir, the problem, Mr. Vale, the problem is not Animazement. Frankly, the problem is you. Because speaking as a panelist at Animazement for the past 6 years, and speaking as someone who has run, this whole thing could have been cleared up 2 minutes, easily. But instead, you decide to blow up about it, and then take things from the people who were there to see you. And frankly, I should not be addressing you as Mr. So, Eric, if there is something that I have said here that you yourself would like to set the record straight about, by all means, you can contact us. Let us know. Did we get something wrong? If you want to set the record straight, the ball is in your court. But as far as it stands right now, from the multiple accounts of the people who were actually there, who saw what happened, and then later got blocked on your Twitter, you were the one that started the problem. You didn't want to fix it, and you just decided to leave and play the victim. So, this goes out as a warning to everyone out there. If you are at a convention, do not leave your badge somewhere. Do not forget your badge. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. If we cannot see a badge, you do not get entry. Rule number 1, no badge, no entry, period. End of discussion. Eric, I hope you enjoyed your time in Raleigh. It's a nice convention. It's one of my favorites. I've been going every year since 2005, and I went once in 03. Missed 04 for reasons, mostly because I was graduating high school at the time. But, you know, if not for the fact that, 03, 05, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This was my 14th Animazement. And just Animazement. It's my 14th. If not for the fact that it was my 14th Animazement, I might be upset about this. Because I might see some sort of trend that may be starting of Animazement not treating its guests right. But frankly, Eric, I've seen Animazement treat its guests right. I've seen what happens when guests follow procedure and there's mix-ups. The Animazement staff bends over backwards to try to get you what you need. The Animazement staff does everything in its power to try to get their guests what they need and try to keep them happy and let them enjoy the convention and enjoy being around their fans and enjoy being there for the reasons that they're there. I guess you didn't get to experience that. I hope you enjoyed your trip to Raleigh. And honestly, whenever you come back, it'll be too soon. So that is my take on the whole Eric Vale Animazement situation. And like I said, Eric, if anything's untrue and you'd like to clear things up, please let me know. But other than that, I had a damn good Animazement. And nothing like the stunt you pulled can change that. So until next time, guys, this has been Bishie. Peace.